Late night chats with the genie from the east. Let's talk a little bit about meditation. Practices like meditation, yoga, yogic breath, exercises that and practices that are thousands and thousands of years old. You can find them in all old manuscripts. Been practiced over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, that there's so much text and so many different techniques and methods, and but all seeking one common goal, and that is to enhance the inner facilities, allowing for higher functioning. So for instance, in my conditioned mind, prior to learning how to meditate and how to concentrate and properly stretch and breathe, prior to that, I was almost always disassociating. Always kind of in between disassociating, but never really docked fully in my body. But this was normal, so I didn't really realize what it feels like to be really centered up here and looking out properly, hearing myself properly, and having a how do I say, like, you have a peripheral. A traumatized mind, and a lot of times, is not experiencing its aura. Okay, you got a peripheral aura, and you can feel things. It doesn't mean you need to be trying to look over there. But the traumatized conditioned mind has a habitual tendency towards trying to see what's around it or what's going on all the time. And when this occurs, you have to disassociate, because you're going into the conditioned mind, which is the imagination. So you're really looking in the mind and trying to see what's around you at the same time. And this in itself has a lot to do with the nature of what we call anxiety. It's like I'm describing what's happening behind the scenes, and just our hardware. So when I started to meditate, I started to align concentration and attention to a singular point. When this happens over time, the mind becomes what is called silent. But when it's silent, it becomes extremely active. And some of the first signs, preliminary signs, really is the silence, but eventually the frontal lobe will light up. And after meditation, you take this experience with you. You begin to know what it feels like to be at your forebrain, instead of where the ego predominantly is somewhere back in the reptilian, projecting shit. So that's what people call thinking, which is really listening, because the conditioned mind with things that you were told, which you think you're thinking it, but you're listening to what you were told. But you can't really understand this or learn a lot of these things until you have the process. But this is the future. It's the ancient past, and it's the future. It's the future. It's our ancient future. Especially in the world that we're living in today, where what is the biggest issue? What they say, mental health. After a while, it's orgasmic. And some of the phenomenon that begins to happen, if you can't even talk to everybody about it because you are having an experience that either people are interested in or they read about it, but it's not something you necessarily need to talk about because it's an internal it's an internal awareness. So you don't talk about something that you just are. You know, it's like you're a tree, you just bear fruit. You actually do it. You actually are the thing. And then that's why meditation and what I'm talking about is always synonymous with being. To be or not to be. The world's the stage. So to be or not to be. So in the external world is to be what? You say to be what? But in the internal world is just to be. But in the external world is to be what? To be. For anyone dealing with stress and anxiety and they've been dealing with it their entire life, I promise you, meditation will change your life. It's not always that easy, but if you find the right teachers and the place to be in and the support, you will have profound changes. I'm 43. I've been practicing since I was 24. Not 23, 22, 23. Yeah, 20 years. And I mean, it saved my life, if I must be honest. And it showed me the power of the mind of something so simple, just sitting and breathing. You wouldn't believe it until you achieve it. Good night from the genie.